All right, folks. I am Pops, and we're going to talk Christmas movies. And just so you know, Jay Harang is in the house. We're going to have a great time talking about stuff. Brother, thank you so much for hanging out with me, my friend,
Thank you very much for having me.
again.
Yeah.
So, those of you who don't know, and Ryan Roger Athay will get a kick out of this of bloopers. We recorded an entire video for over almost an hour, and because we had been talking, I just never hit record. And then we realized at the end there was no video. So we will do this again. It may be exceedingly short this time because we've already parsed everything out. Like, what is a Christmas movie? How do we define some principles? You guys can keep us straight and correct us. I'm open to this kind of criticism and hate, but I think most of it's going to go towards Jay. That's just my prediction because I'm arrogant and it's my channel. So, Jay, my friend, thanks for doing this, my friend. Let's start with my first principle of there are Christmas for Christmas sakes movies, pure Christmas movies, right? There's no, like, some of the easy ones are things, the most popular things like Elf, uh, Christmas Vacation. These kind of, they're Christmas for Christmas sake. There's nothing else. There's no other elements in them. And then
Yep.
beyond that, there are genres. But what is the best way you think you could define like the Christmas for Christmas sake kind of category or movie?
Okay, so a number of ways. So over there you've got Hallmark and Lifetime, whereas over here, over here,
Yes.
that's I was shown on something called Channel 5. Now these include the classic two subgenres of these films. The first one is big city woman with successful job has to return home to her hometown for some reason that doesn't matter. Falls in love with a plumber slash handyman slash pool boy. Realizes the true meaning of Christmas, falls in love with him, and bins her old life off. Yeah, everyone's happy. Then the second one would be again like some woman in America who's down on her luck, has a chance meeting with a European prince of a country that doesn't really exist yet. Everyone's obviously English, and they go back to a castle and they fall in love and everyone's happy. Yeah. So that's basically the Hallmark ones. If you can find one outside that genre, normally they have Lacey Chabert or Candace Cameron Bure and Winnie from the Wonder Years. They're always in them, literally everything.
Yeah,
Apart
you
from
told me
those,
Winnie's done like I don't know, like 20 or 30 movies in this sort of genre. I didn't even know about that. That was crazy.
and they are identical. Like the only difference is the name of the fake country or what her job was previous to meeting the prince. And like you can, the actors are so generic, and that every single one of the covers is always them in Christmas jumpers, him there going,
They
and
got
her
that, and
like
they got
going,
that banner. The banner is kind of across the front and things like. There was
bit
one with.
tinsel, bit
I wish I
tinsel.
could. I wish I could know which one it was, but there was one where the actor going home is an actor. So it's an actor playing an actor that's going to go home to have. Like I'm like, wow, it's almost like a docudrama.
I need to find that one.
Yeah, it's there's so many of these. Yeah, I went into the service and I was looking at like the 2023 movies, like which ones haven't I seen? Is there something, whatever. And there was like out of like the 50 most recent movies, there was like 25, 30 or more of these Christmas movies in these different, and I'm like, oh, it's exactly what you're saying. There are so many of these being generated. I couldn't even get my head around it.
Well, that's exactly that. So Channel 5. So I go for my content. I go straight to Channel 5 to have a look what the latest sort of made for TV stalker movie is, like, stalked by my dentist, or or anything like that. They're getting ridiculous. Stalked by my stepdad. But suddenly they changed them. I think a couple of weeks ago, and now it's every single one is a Christmas Prince, or
Christmas
royalty
Nutcracker,
Christmas.
Christmas
Yeah,
in Tennessee, Christmas,
yeah.
yeah. So
Any of that.
if folks, if you need to go, I have a guilty pleasure, and one of them is listening to Jay just rail on about some of the schlock, and it's hysterical, and it's not PG-13, but you know what? You can have a good time. So if that's for you, this is going to be a
Actually,
channel you need.
I am now trying to do that. My most recent ones. I've eliminated curse words because
I,
YouTube seems to be helping me out there. But
I challenge you to come up with your own curse words, like find replacement words that are just so ridiculous.
yeah,
So I got someone who tweeted me like, "Where did you learn or pick up the word jackwagon?" And I'm like, I I'd have to ask Mrs. Pops. It's just something I've picked up to replace my use of other words that I shouldn't say in front of the children.
They've been formulated for so long, and they all work, don't they? So the noise of them. I mean, especially the F and C words. I mean, there's just
Oh,
no
yeah, yeah.
replacing them. They're just too good. But
Yeah.
credit to whoever made those up.
So, okay, so I found a ridiculous list. It's from a couple days ago, and I thought, well, let's just let someone else. And this list was ridiculous. Like this includes movies that I would never even have thought of, but it kind of lets us get off to at least a jumping point. 25 best Christmas movies that aren't technically Christmas movies. I'm like, okay, whatever. Obviously, I went straight to the list, which I got to get down here. Let's start with Die Hard. So Die Hard is probably the most divisive of the ones. I'll let Jay make his case on why Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but it to me there's so many elements. Obviously, there is more than one song, which by the way, people just easily throw that around because the end credit scene. There's actually a Run DMC song early in the movie. There's a couple other sound moments in the movie itself. Obviously, Christmas Party, reconciliation, all that kind of stuff. I'll talk about, I'm sure. Jay, explain to folks why you don't automatically or put Die Hard in this group.
No, for me, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I understand people who say it is. I totally understand it because it obviously has a number of Christmas related elements. My take on this would be if it doesn't have the name, if the title Christmas Santa or like a derivative of anything to do with Christmas, then the next way it can make itself a pure Christmas movie is if you can describe the film and the plot and not mention Christmas. To me, Die Hard, you can fully describe the film to anyone and what the film's about and not even mention Christmas. And I personally don't think the film suffers if you remove the Christmas element. Any film that you can do that with, and that includes a number of others, they will not be considered by me to be a pure Christmas movie. I'd put them in another category.
So I have to make the case that the key element for Die Hard is John McClane's story arc in particular about reconciling with his family. And if we're going to remove Christmas from it, then we have to, as a writer, we're going to have to contrive reasons on why he's going to go out there, why the terrorists are attacking. Because obviously, the Christmas party is one of the key elements to the entire story because it reduces the security down to a skeleton crew. It puts all of the hostages in one general location. It allows the manipulation of the city with all the infrastructure elements that play into Hans Gruber's control of the building a lot easier. And I think this is one of the reasons that some of the sequels tend to not hold up as well because John's story arc gets lost in that reconciliation journey of Christmas time. And he has the gift, which of course sets up a few gags here and there. And obviously, so I think what it does is it creates a hole in the movie that of trying to keep things bound together and keep it so tight. But you would make the argument that we could probably still come up with ways to make it work.
Well, you could. I mean, if you said, for example, for the party, could have been a celebration of one business that went late into the night, and all the other businesses in that building had left for the evening. That would the skeleton crew would remain. I can't think off the top of my head of a reason why he might be coming home, but maybe for some sort of custody battle over the children. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember if there was any children, but that you could have thrown that in. I mean, that's clutching at straws really on my part. So I would understand. I do totally accept the fact that Die Hard is probably enhanced at the least by involving Christmas.
So with that, we have to add a couple more. Let's go to Gremlins then as well, because Gremlins is very similar in that, and actually less than Die Hard in my opinion. Obviously, the gift is the key element of the story. It sets up at Christmas. You have tons of references. You even have snow and snowmen and Christmas music, and there's a gag center around that. Obviously, the Gremlins are even Christmas caroling at one point. How would we? Or what is your take on Gremlins? Was it similar to Die Hard? You could kind of do this movie without the Christmas.
Very similar. If I was to describe to a friend who hadn't seen Gremlins what happened in Gremlins, I don't think I would mention Christmas. I don't think it's necessarily key to the plot. I would add at this point that the fact that it's taking place around Christmas, because of certainly Americans, like you will have Christmas decorations up from basically mid-November. until January. So that pretty much that's essentially
That's true.
that's it's
Guilty.
10% of the year that anything's
Right.
filmed. It's going to have that stuff in it anyway. And you can't include snow because then anything filmed in Alaska or any other northern whatever.
Okay. Okay.
The thing isn't a Christmas movie. It just happens to
Okay.
take place in Antarctica. Um, where there's a lot of ice and snow. This one's similar. I mean, for me, Gremlins, my favorite scene in Gremlins, where the mum is like wandering about downstairs with a carving knife, and she hears something going on, and you get the whole Bing Crosby. Do you hear what I hear? That's my favorite scene of the film. So it would ruin it for me if it wasn't at Christmas a bit. But you can definitely have Gremlins can definitely work without Christmas. And the fact that it's a sequel, I mean, I'd suggest that sequels die off anyway, and that the lack of Christmas wouldn't necessarily be the main driver for the failure of the sequel. I mean, I actually like Die Hard 2 and I like Gremlins 2 as well. Especially, my favorite character in Gremlins 2 is Daniel Clamp. So, but
And Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee is in that
yeah,
movie.
of course, yeah.
All right. So then let's go back because you hit on the exclusionary principle. I think it's very important too. Like, okay, random snow doesn't count. Random decorate again. You really made me think about this too because like you're right. 10% of the year, just because there are decorations in the background, even doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas movie. Of just being so like let's throw Harry Potter out first off because there's always like a Christmas sequence going home for Christmas break or whatever. It doesn't make it a Christmas movie. I think that there's many of those that kind of fit that category. Do you kind of agree with that? Kind of like as the basis of an exclusionary principle?
I totally agree with that. That would go on to the that When Harry Met Sally thing, where it's set over a long period of time, and a number of different like events take place where they happen to
There it
meet, and
is.
one or two of those is a Christmas party. That is just not. It's absolutely not. Those two are not Christmas films. Even though I am somebody who watches Harry Potter around Christmas time, I don't know why. I don't know why it's got a Christmas feel to me, but it is. It's you can't say it's a Christmas movie. I don't think.
And we have to throw this was on the list, and this one blew me away. And I hadn't really thought about this until I read this article. It is very true, though. Is Sound of Music used to play a lot during Christmas time. So a lot of folks, especially older folks, I count myself as older, so I'm allowed to say that. Associate Sound of Music with Christmas time, but that does not make it a Christmas movie. So that's on you. That's your self-imposed affinity for something, right? That's your attachment. You were kind of confessing to that with Harry Potter a little bit, like, yeah, I kind of have that. So
Yeah, I'll confess this to Sound of Music as well. So I mean, I remember when back in the days of VHS tapes, we used to watch Sound of Music on video, my sister and I, and we had it was something Santa's Workshop or something, this animated cartoon followed by the Sound of Music, which we had obviously recorded, and so therefore this particular movie has always had that association with Christmas for me, but objectively, absolutely not.
okay, all right. So we've got pure Christmas, sort of like an idealistic category out there with all this stuff. We make sure that we automatically have included things that have Christmas and Santa in the name and things like that, and then we exclude like the Harry Potter, Sound of Music for those reasons. I think I scrolled past it, but I think we would also add Edward Scissorhands in that same reason. What was Edward
Yeah,
Scissorhands? Oh, Batman Returns. That's probably a good one to put in that same category. Well, you were saying this earlier with what you were saying about Gremlins.
well, that
I'm
I
kind
mean,
of guilty with this one.
right. That for me, that's an absolute no. I mean, I've seen Batman Returns a couple times, like back in the day. I haven't seen it recently, but I've watched that more than once, and I've never made an association with Christmas. I think that's one that people just like to be. Oh, well, this is a Christmas movie too because nah, 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 nah. I'm not having it under no circumstance. That's in the Harry Potter Sound of Music category, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. This is it's talking about the gift wrapped in presents, destroying the Christmas tree. Basically a satire of the capitalism during the holiday, and then of course dancing under the mistletoe, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
I love it when Hollywood movies do satires of capitalism.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't associate Batman Returns as a Christmas movie, so I'm kind of a hypocrite on this one as well. But it fits into the same. It fits very similar, but to a much lesser degree for me than the other two Gremlins and Die Hard.
Yeah, from what you've just said about so I've just remembered some of the things in that movie, and yes, I wouldn't say it's Harry Potter category. I'd say it's Die Hard Gremlins category.
It's in the
As you
fringe, like
say,
a fringe category. Is that what you call it? Something like that.
Let's say Fringe Christmas. So this is a Fringe
Christmas
movie, but probably to less of an extent, as you say, than Die Hard or Gremlins.
Edward Scissorhands was on the list, and I didn't know why. And I'm like, well, he carves up ice at the end and makes it snow on her. It's like, nope, that's not it at all. There's a line in here about a big part of people's Christmas is trying to fit in with family, even though you feel like an awkward monster. And I was like, and then it's like materialistic town people to the top of the mountain, like Grinch's journey in reverse. It's like, oh,
that's clutching at straws.
Yeah, that is a.
In fact, I'd say that's clutching at straws with scissors for hands.
Wow, there you go. Hey, I see what you did there. That is such a that is way below the even Harry Potter, because at least Harry Potter I can get the idea of the association, and there are Christmas moments in every movie of Christmas Fairy. There is nothing Christmassy about Edward Scissorhands except maybe the final sequence where he's making snow. That is not enough. That is not.
Although
enough,
I say that, I believe the lead actor did receive a surprise Christmas gift at the end of his bed when he woke up one morning.
Oh, he has received some gifts, all right, for sure.
I meant.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. There was another one that was kind of in that same vein. Well, Narnia fits the Harry Potter category of just snow does not cut it. We're not doing that. That's not enough.
No,
it's not. We're not putting Fargo on the list, folks. You can't. No. You can't go. Oh, there's no Santa, but there's snow. Here we go. Like Trading Places. So is Trading Places fringe for you or not? Because this is a tricky one with Gremlins and Die Hard, and taking Christmas out of Trading Places.
Trading Places is for me fringe, but I mean, probably more as Christmas, if not more than Die Hard. But again, I would say you can describe the plot of Trading Places quite easily, and remake the film without the Christmas element, and the film will not suffer. So therefore, I think what's it about? It's about we all know what it's about. Right. And you wouldn't describe Christmas in that one, really. But yet again, there are some elements of this, like as the scene here with the Santa suit, that does definitely enhance the film. So I would put that top of the fringe Christmas category.
It's funny too, because I'd have to rewatch this one because I don't have this at my top. This would be near. It's not as bottom as some of the others that would be on my list, but it was one I didn't associate with Christmas like much at all, other than him in the outfit and some of that kind of thing. I think is interesting. Yeah. I didn't know why Eyes Wide Shut was even on the list, and it was like, oh, there's a lot of Christmas trees and lights in the windows in the background, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, again, 10% of the year. If it's filmed at that time, it's going to be.
That's a good rule. I like that. Yeah. I like that. That's a good disclaimer for people. Well, it was set at Christmas. Okay, well, that's like 10% of the year or more.
For you it is. For here, it's a week. But for you, it's since the end of October. Yeah, after the Halloween decorations come down. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Get the turkey out. Right, that's gone now. The decorations are going up.
Oh, I'm so guilty too because it's so much work, Jay. Man, you gotta. If I'm look, and I'm also not the weirdo. I know. I mean, I'm weird, but it's like. When I talk about putting things up in October or November or whatever, it's because it's the work to get on the roof or put things up. They're not running. It's not Winter Wonderland at my house for 3 months or anything. Like I don't run all these lights year round. I mean, so
it's pretty tough work changing that Halloween ghost house into a haunted house into a Santa's grotto overnight on the 2nd of November or whenever you do it.
Well, I don't have a big Halloween display like that, but I get it. Yeah, Santa's grotto is a good reference. And I know it's us, but your room is it a roommate you said or a friend of yours?
My current housemate is obsessed.
Santa's grotto.
If you look downstairs, it's like Santa's pukes all over our dining room. It is incredible. Like there's a tree with like a already obviously it's been done for 2 weeks. There's a train track going around with Christmas presents on it. There's an elf sitting on top of the tree. There's lights everywhere. He's turning them on now. He's so excited. And when I spoke to him the other day, I said, "Are you one of these people that?" Because I obviously haven't lived with him before, so this is a relatively new thing. I was like, "Oh, you one of these people that gets really depressed at 26th of December?" And he looked at me like, as in,
Wow, you've
yeah, he's
crushed him.
literally he's gonna end it all on the 26th of December because
Boxing Day is the saddest day of the
yeah, because he
year.
knows there's 363 and a half days left till the next time.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
he's 45 years old. He's 45.
Okay, I can't throw stones. I love. I remember coming home from work and they had done like we have like a Christmas village area, and I remember I think it was a few days ago. It was after Thanksgiving, and I don't know what I was doing. I just sat there, just had them turn the lights on, just sit there, just looking at the lights, and just felt like get into this holiday Christmassy sort of mode if
Yeah.
that you know what I mean. And I like having it all done in advance, so I feel like I can enjoy it a little bit. But just because it's in the background doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
That's for
Well,
sure.
a lot of people love it. I mean, I'm one of these people that doesn't. I'm don't really like Christmas that much. I mean, I don't like children for a start. I don't like spending money on presents. I don't like Amazon. Amazon's helped me out, to be honest, because I used to hate going into town and buying stuff for people. I mean, that was literally the worst day of my life. The day I do my Christmas shopping. You guys probably call it Christmas Eve. But I mean, honestly, absolutely hideous. So Amazon, thank you very much. You've saved.
We're gonna have to figure out how to make his heart grow 2 sizes. Remember. I didn't even get Rocky. It's in the snow. Well, we're off the snow doesn't work, but it is
Yeah.
actually that the fight actually happens on Christmas Day.
Yeah. I mean, it could really happen at any other time. I mean, I'm not sure when Rocky 4 was released, but I'm going to assume it was around Christmas time.
I don't think so. I
Really?
thought the same thing with Die Hard. I thought the same thing with Gremlins. They're summer movies.
Right. Okay.
Oh no,
Uh,
no, you're right. Rocky 4. I was thinking about Rocky 3. Rocky 4 was November.
right.
So it was Thanksgiving. So yeah, it was a
So
Christmas.
I'm assuming they just thought, let's do this on Christmas Day, and then if we can put something in the trailer about Christmas, then that's another few people that can come in. Maybe, I don't know. It's always puzzled me as to why his son had friends round while he was going, "That's my dad" on the TV, because like those kids should have been with their own family at Christmas. Just because your friend's loaded and their house is better, it's no excuse to leave your own family and abandon them on Christmas Day. You don't get any other stuff; it's still theirs.
It's still theirs.
Yeah.
All right. So this was an interesting one. I've only watched this movie one time. Reindeer Games, Dressed as Santa Claus. You have any thoughts on Reindeer Games?
It's been a while since I've seen it, and I definitely have only seen it once. That is Ben Affleck, isn't it? Is that Ben Affleck?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he's in a few Christmas films. Maybe he'll be the new Hallmark. Maybe he'll be pretty soon. We'll see Ben Affleck and Winnie from the Wonder Years, play in a Hallmark movie. But no, I mean, I think because it's called Reindeer Games, I think that has to go in automatically as a film with a Christmas related title. I can't remember how much whether this. My recollection of this is that it's a Christmas movie. I don't know
Okay.
why it's on this list. Why does it say it's on this list? I can't read this
Well, I
particularly.
mean, you're making a valid point too. If a movie has like a very it's not necessarily Christmas in the names, but Reindeer Games is obviously a Christmas phrase. So,
Yeah.
is there a Christmas phrase or a Christmas song that is not a Christmas movie? I don't. I was trying to look at a list and I couldn't find something. So,
Yeah, so let us
well,
know in the comments, sorry, if you can think of something, if you can think of any movie that's got a title with either Santa, Christmas, or a phrase that you usually associate with Christmas as the title, but it's actually not a Christmas movie when you watch it. That would be good.
he dresses like Santa Claus. His name is Rudy, short for Rudolph. Christmas dinner with his family. So obviously, it's set at Christmas.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. So it has the elements thereof. I actually until I can watch it again, I almost want to put it in the fringe category only because of that. But because of the name, I'm very
Yeah.
tempted. I don't know how I feel about that one. But yeah, this is one that might be a fringe rule breaker. Like it's on this
Yeah.
edge, but it kind of sneaks or cheats its way in. Like I'm all in on like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Violent Night, which is obviously about a Santa, and these are horror movies, and I like the fact that there's subcategories within this Christmas stuff, things like that. I tend to be a little bit more lenient. So if we're going to create strict rules, it gets a little trickier for me.
What if let's pretend that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, right, was retitled Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom at Christmas. Because
Okay.
obviously you're not going to notice that because it's in India, isn't it? or somewhere on the border between India and Nepal, it's you're not going to notice that it's anything to do with Christmas anyway, even if it was set at Christmas time. But that would be an exclusionary. That would be an exception to the rule
Okay.
because it's just not Christmas.
So
Whereas
Last Crusade would be easier to do at Christmas, right? Because Last Crusade, you can have Christmas in the background easier in America.
Yeah.
You can have some stuff. So in Last Crusade, you could have a name change there that it is maybe not you're looking for a holy grail, you're looking for Jesus's manger or something.
Yeah.
So therefore it's you're looking for something that would be more tangible, but that would be an exclusion or an exception.
There's something really eerie about. I'm thinking of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just imagine if they'd found Jesus's manger and then shoved it in a big warehouse with a load of other stuff. God, the outcry. Anyway,
it almost seems like the spoof or the parody that needs to happen. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because his original name was going to be was it Nebraska Smith or Nevada Smith? Anyway,
is that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
By the way, if you, just as a total side note, a manger, right? I've never heard the word manger used in any other term apart from with Jesus. So, like, have you ever seen? So someone's got a new baby, and let's get them a manger. I mean, what is a manger? Is it like
it's like a feeding. It's really like a feeding trough. It's almost like a like that's what you would to put the hay in for the animals, right? It's this little.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So imagine it like this, right? Yeah. And the hay is on top, so they can get to it and whatever. We don't really use manger. Yeah, we don't even use the term manger to describe. Do we call it a hay manger? Maybe we do call it a hay manger. I don't think about it, but it's the irony is in that part of the world too. The idea that they would have like this stereotypical wood manger is actually kind of a stretch. A lot of folks and the historians will talk about how they would like carve out these divots in these stones and things like that, and they would put hay and stuff in there and things like that. So you're right. Manger tends to be very.
I don't know where they're going to find one of those over there.
It was a little too soon. He wasn't quite trained up. Well, wait, Dad, get onto it. Whittle me a manger. All right, so let's see what else made this list. Lethal Weapon fits into the fringe category, and I am totally a hypocrite. For those of you who love Lethal Weapon as a Christmas movie, I do not get that one. I need to watch it again, I guess, to kind of get the feel. I know there's a Christmas tree farm shootout. There's like magic decorations in the background, stuff like that. This felt, man,
not even fringe to me. Not even fringe.
Yeah. This didn't feel this. Yeah, this one I would have to rewatch and figure out what I'm missing. I just haven't rewatched it recently enough to kind of feel that. Fringe at best, probably close to being out. Some of these other ones I don't really have a frame of reference on.
No.
Let's see what else was there. Steel Magnolias is a no. Little Women's a no. We're not dealing with that.
These I've watched these a while ago, and I would never have even remembered that they featured Christmas in them at all. And surely you're going to have that's got to be a thing. If you can watch these and not even remember. And Steel Magnolias I've seen more than once. I can't remember anything about Christmas in there.
So Holiday Inn's a tricky one for folks that might want to try to attack my rule system here, because long before the cheap motels were called Holiday Inn, there was this great movie, and the movie does take place over many, many months and different seasons. So there's like they're running a holiday. It's called the Holiday Inn. It's like a high end hotel area where they have these extremely talented sort of like dinner theater type performances from that era. And the Christmas segments is really, really showcased prominently. And this is where we get the birth of some of these famous songs and stuff like that. Not only the Holiday Inn song itself, but also White Christmas in particular. But there is like a President's Day or a Valentine's Day sequence and things like that. So when I talk about Christmas being a segment in a movie, I could see that I owe myself up a little bit of criticism with Holiday Inn. But it is very much a Christmas movie in the sense of those are the scenes that really jump out at you. I think that it would be I could take your challenge, Jay, and I could describe this movie way more articulately than if I had time to think about it here. Using your rule of describing it without Christmas.
Yeah.
But I would probably go, and when you see that Christmas sequence, oh, it's so good. You know what I mean? This is, and when Bing Crosby sings White Christmas, it really gets you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I could describe the movie, but the power and some of the thrust of the movie is really done some of those Christmas sequences. So
I mean, I've not seen the whole Holiday Inn, and I've also not seen It's a Wonderful Life. but I'm going to
Oh,
assume that It's a Wonderful
yeah.
Life with the
An angel
is
gets his wings. I
yeah,
should have pulled
thank
that
you.
card
Yeah.
out. I meant to do that earlier. See, I did well last time we talked about a half hour ago because I
Yeah.
didn't hit record. I did point out that the big issue with the fringe category, Die Hard, Gremlins, Trading Places, maybe Lethal Weapon, a couple others, is It's a Wonderful Life is considered the ultimate of the Christmas movies. It's probably the best critically acclaimed and the most revered. Very little Christmas. There's not. So
Yeah.
if you live in a world because you haven't seen it and you've seen Elf and you love Christmas Carol, I think, right? You said that was your favorite stuff, like Christmas Carol.
I love anything to do with Christmas Carol. So
Okay.
all the remakes and I've seen so many different versions of it, and I can just watch any of them. This is why I was interested in the other movie you were talking about on Twitter the other day.
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah. We'll get to that one because I want to hear your take on it. So when you have all of that exposure and that built up library in our head about what Christmas movies are, and you sit there and you're watching what's supposed to be the best one, and you're sitting there watching, you're going to be sitting there like, is there any Christmas in this movie? Like, what is the Christmas in this movie? So I would
yeah,
love to see your response to that, and that's kind of like one of my biggest pushbacks to get some of the fringe movies in there. And I'm
yeah,
I'm also a kind of guy that has no problem having more things in with like a category. Like I put on Twitter like proof Die Hard's a Christmas thing. There's like a magazine and it had a category for Die Hard. So
right,
if I did that magazine, I would have like the pure Christmas list. We'd go through all those different chapters. We have a whole chapter for Christmas Carol because there's so many great iterations of that. And then I would get to something about fringe movies or fringe or you know, unorthodox, or we'd come up with a phrase that we could get into the populace, and that's where you would get these type of movies.
yeah.
And then It's a Wonderful Life deserves its own sort of commentary because it's different. It's different. Yeah,
Well,
I don't
it
get.
does sound very much like this Holiday Inn. If it's the first time you get Bing Crosby singing White Christmas, which for decades that was like the Christmas song,
Sure.
that's probably given it almost a pass card, doesn't it? Same with the me in It's a Wonderful Life.
Angels get their wings.
What is it? Sorry, what is it? Every time,
Every time the bell rings, an angel gets his wings. Yes.
ridiculous.
You'll get it. You need to watch it. You'll understand.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's one of these things too. Every time I watch it, I always think to myself, I've seen this movie so many times. I'm going to be bored. I'm not going to be engaged. Like I always think it's a classic for a reason. It's like watching that foundational era of movies, right? That
Yeah.
stuff that's from like 1939 through the 1950s, and they're supposed to be great, and you think to yourself, I've seen it. You watch it,
Yeah.
and you're just like, gosh, it's so good. It's like, yeah,
Right.
it's just, I love it. I just enjoy it. If it's not your thing, guys, especially because it is kind of slow and whatever, I get it. It's fine. To each their own, to a certain extent. So, all right. So I don't think there's really much else on the list that I wanted to kind of cut up with. Babe was here again. There's like he sings one song, things like that. Chris, having the Christmas carnage thing because of Christmas dinner or whatever. But I wouldn't associate that with Christmas at all.
No.
Anyway, so yeah. Let me get to the Christmas Carol thing real quick because I actually if you haven't seen it, I'll try to put a link in the description, but it just came out. I did my review, or at least my comments on A Christmas Karen. I kid you not. It was on Tubi. You guys don't have Tubi, but it's this app. But we have several apps that have like free content with commercials. So this is like
Yeah.
a movie channel from back in the day on TV, right? It's just Roku has stuff. They all have different movies. But I thought this might be a Tubi original. I thought it was going to be a complete crazy hack job thing. I actually didn't even know it was Christmas Carol. I just thought it's called A Christmas Karen. I just thought, oh, it's just to be, anyway. It's full of all of the hyperbole and stereotypes and silliness and gags, and her glass of wine thing is like this carafe. It's like this
Right.
massive bottle. So they go all in on this. It wasn't the worst thing. I would love your take because you are down knee deep in some schlock, my friend.
Yeah,
So,
and well, as someone, I'm almost guaranteed to like it. That's the thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be the best comedy, but if it's even got the story of that, I mean, I love all of those stuff. My favorite Christmas Carol one is got to be the Albert Finney one from either the 60s or the 70s. I think that's the best one. My favorite one. But then last year, I assumed it would just be rubbish, but I watched the Muppets Christmas Carol for the first time last year,
yeah,
and
it's so good.
absolutely loved that. Loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
And
But then
Scrooge makes the list.
love Scrooge for purely for the reason. Well, I like it anyway, but the highlight for that for me is the acid rain advert that they do as
Yes,
what as a
true.
joke. But I mean, when I grew up in the United States in the late 80s, they that was being pushed massively. Acid rain was going to be the death of us. Like that was before the ozone layer and the
Oh yeah,
Maldives
yeah,
being
yeah. The old,
underwater
oh
and
yeah.
polar ice caps. The original, the first scarce doom mongering story I remember was acid rain, and they do it well in
Yeah.
Scrooge.
I'm a little older than you, so yeah, we'd go back to the mid to late 70s. If you remember, there was this quick little thing, it didn't last long, called global cooling.
Oh, I remember
Made it
that.
into
Yeah,
Newsweek. And the
yeah.
big solution, again, the solution is like right out of like Highlander 2, right? Some stupid scientist idea. And they were going to drop black soot on the ice to have a control melt. That was it. You know, it's like these are the scientists that have now switched gears to all the new things. And like you said, the
Uh,
fad of the moment, ozone layer spraying, getting rid of your antiperspirant spray cans and
that's
things like
right. No
that.
hairspray. No hairspray. Close your fridge, or everyone's going to die. It's almost as if there's money in scaring these people. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, Christmas Karen was a fun experience. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So, I think we came up with some pretty good rules. We have a pure Christmas category.
yeah.
We have things like names, if Christmas, Santa, things like that are in it. I think there are a fair set of exclusions we easily agree on. Like if it's just some passing scene, like a
Yeah.
Harry Potter, we can't put Sound of
Get out.
Music is a you thing.
Yeah.
That's a you thing, right? That you know, if you're like I'm still trying to figure out the self-inserting Edward Scissorhands one. Like that was such a weird take on that. Like
Yeah, you might want to, Deb. You might want to pull that up again and read out what they've said there, because I mean, it's just like it is. That's it. Yeah, I can't remember whether I said, but it's not a Christmas film. It's not a Christmas film, is it?
it's so strange.
No.
Tim Burton's most personal film. Is it really?
Yeah,
Anyway, Edward Scissorhands. It's about an artificially created human being with scissors for hands who is adopted by a family in the suburbs. As a big part of many people's Christmas is trying to fit in with a family, even though you feel like an awkward monster.
it's nonsense. Clutching at straws with scissors for hands. There we go. It's even better the second time.
I see what you did there. You brought it back. You brought
Yeah,
it
there you
back.
go. Yeah.
Yes,
Well, we've
yes,
had 2 hours to think of these jokes, guys. So
yes.
and it's
We've
still terrible.
it's yeah. So, oh man, I tell you what, good
I can't
times.
remember whether I've actually repeated myself on that or if I said it in the last one, but who knows?
We
I'll
don't
find
know,
out later.
folks. This is what happens when you let me try to be in charge of electronics. It doesn't always go well, and yet people think that we know things because we do this kind of stuff for a living, or at least part time. So, listen, bro, I think we did a pretty good job of at least trying to build some infrastructure. People in comments will let us know some of our faults and how we're misguided or not. I think we have better criteria than people who just randomly throw things against the wall. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
we can agree to disagree over the fringe category. I think that's a fair category to have conversation about, because it's just like anything, right? You can have a movie that you like, even though you should be able to admit it may not be the best movie ever. You know, it may not be a great movie. I think for the fringe category fits into that, where some people might have more affinity or not. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I absolutely love Gremlins, and I love Die Hard. I mean, it's nothing against the films. I just don't I don't associate with Christmas for the reasons given. But well, I associate them with Christmas, but I don't.
But
they
Trading
just don't.
Places, you kind of do.
No, I just don't particularly. No, that's the same. But I've never been
Oh,
a massive fan of Trading Places like I am of
okay.
Gremlins or Die Hard. But
Okay.
yeah,
That's good. That's good. All right. So all the stuff's in the description. Make sure you're connected to him. Check out his channel. Guilty pleasure, guys. I love it. I've had a great time with it. Do you have any other major streams or anything you want to plug real quick?
no, I'm doing a community showdown on the 19th of December, which will be between Team Reality Based, captained by Ryan Roger Athay, against Team Video Tasties. He's the titular captain. So that should be fun. That's on the 19th of December. And on this Saturday, on the 2nd of December, which I think I will be on Mephisto's channel to do a review of, to do a deep dive into, what's it called? Office Space, which is brilliant.
Oh yeah, fun film. Indeed. All right. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our conversation a little bit. Leave us some comments. We give you hopefully some things to think about, and you can kind of help tweak us with our world building around Christmas movies, that kind of thing. We'll have to figure out a way to have Jay back and make sure that I actually hit record proper, not waste an hour of his time. We appreciate you, man. Folks, Thank you for everything. Be blessed. Have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. We'll see you soon.